So James is just finishing off reheats from yesterday. I stuck more gravy on it, and I put some parsley on top to
From this
fancy
morning?
it up. Yeah.
Not from yesterday.
No, not from yesterday. This morning. I'm
Tired.
yeah. I don't know when the life of Pauline. It's hard to keep times, days, dates, years.
What's the
Straight.
date today? You know.
I have no idea.
I think it's the 5th.
Yeah, I think it's a bit.
I just finished a book. And I just wrote in it. It's the 5th.
Okay, yeah, I do have dates sometimes that because I got a book. You know, when things are due,
There you
I
go.
have to pay attention
Awesome.
to that, right?
Way
So-
better than I used to be.
Well,
way
I've
better than I
always
am
been
now.
good at that. Anyway,
What day of the week is it today?
Thursday,
See, you know it awesome. Automatic.
and the moon is half
See?
white.
And it's not in the sky, so you just know.
No, I just know it.
Mhm.
Anyway, no, but I tend to know what the moon's doing, but beyond that, it really doesn't matter so much. So, we watched this excellent movie, which everybody needs to watch this Christmas. This is the movie to watch this Christmas. It used to be every year. Well, people have their favorites, you know, but every year for me, even though I love Jimmy Stewart, every year was White Christmas. Every year. So good.
Mhm.
Because, well, I also love Bing Crosby. And well, I've sung the Sisters song on the blog before, so I won't put you through that again. You can dig through the thousands of videos. and
Through
try
the
to find it.
archives. Yeah.
So, anyway, this is the most awesome zombie movie yet because they've combined teen drama, zombie movie,
Yeah.
and musical.
Also, humor.
Comedy,
Humor,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
And all of it generally handled pretty well.
Yes, all of it handled well. The humor, the jokes were good, and zombies, I mean, awesome.
And unlike a lot of musical comedies, the tunes actually were
They
catchy.
were really catchy. I should have started with singing one of the songs from there, honestly, because they were that memorable that I should have. I didn't. But anyway,
They had some good singers.
Now you can.
There we go.
Just watch it. You'll love it. It's wonderful.
But, you know, you did come up with this could be a chorus line. I could have, I should have, I didn't. You know, see, because you're expecting the rhyme, and it's a letdown. You see what I'm saying? Be a great chorus line. Be something that, you know, like...
You can have that.
Well,
Please put it into a song. Oftentimes, like, it used to be I would say something, and James would be like, "That's excellent," and I'd say, "You can have it," because he's the poet, so he should be the one to use it, really. But anyway, so now I guess he's back to liking things that I say, and he's going to put it into song. We'll see. You might hear it in the new year.
Stay
Who
tuned.
knows?
Keep your ears up.
Because music written by senior citizens is bound to be a hit
I tell
with
you,
the youth today.
big, huge market out there.
So many people would tune
Wait
into
till
that.
people see the videos. Me
Yeah.
doddering around on a cane.
Yeah.
On a walker.
But anyway, we were watching Rosemary's Baby, and it's interesting. I'm finding it interesting. The Rosemary's Baby was not a good remake, whatever, but still there were interesting things about
it's
it.
a different thing when you're doing
TV versus it is. And she was far too thin, and honestly, if you don't trust your husband going into a pregnancy, don't get pregnant. You're not meant to be with that person having a baby if you can't trust them completely. And so I don't know, there might be some issues with people who are coming into like this movie was set in Paris. So there might be issues with some people immigrating into Paris or going in a work visa, and the husband has made an arrangement, to get some payback, and it's to rent out his wife's womb or whatever. It might be an issue. Just pay attention. But you should know, if you're in a relationship with, if that's your husband, you should know if he's going to do that or not. If you don't, then don't ever plan for pregnancy with that person, right? It just makes sense. And it was interesting in Rosemary's Baby, the way the what's his name, Roman, the man who was
kind of witchy
immortal, so sort of, I don't know, vampire-ish, but they called them witches in that.
They actually call them, I got it right then, witchy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but more like vampires because he was using the babies to stay young or whatever they thought, and then and maybe he was, but in any case, I mean, the Rosemary's Baby story, and well, you should.
Maybe they don't.
Maybe you don't.
No. Maybe it's just young pups watching.
Maybe. But if first watch the original movie, because it's definitely worth watching. It's series not so much, but it was interesting that Roman was, they were saying, oh, no, he's not a bad guy, he's this wealthy, or whoever the owner of the building was. I don't think they knew it was Roman at the time, but anyway, they were saying he's this wealthy billionaire and he gives to charities and this and that and whatever. And if you've been watching my blog post or any of the videos, I have shared some information about what I call the Gateway Extinction Project, and people really should be thinking about this. Zombie movie, one bite, and you're walking dead, right? And if you look into the genetically modified mosquitoes, one bite, and who knows what's going to happen? You might be sterile. So
wouldn't that be fun? Yeah.
And then how's that going to work out? You have all of a sudden, in short, the the Gateway Extinction Project is supposed to be complete by 2040. So really, you have 20 years.
They're working on it now, I presume.
It's already released. The mosquitoes released.
Oh,
they've genetically modified it and released it. It's already released.
Wow, stupid. It's like a doomsday sort of machine.
Yeah. So, a lot of people, you're watching the movies and you think, oh, haha, zombie apocalypse, whatever. I'm basically Walking Dead right now. I'm not going to have a child. And probably by 2040, most of you won't. So, and I was faced with the in vitro thing, it was very stressful for me. I'd already picked out my perfect mate. He's a genius, and he'd be a wonderful father, and everything, and then, no, I can't have that. I could have some stranger, and it's like, wow, that person could be Satan, Rosemary's Baby. You don't know, right? When you have you're picking out from a bunch of photos or like a little description about maybe, or maybe not even that, and you're like, really? Even
it could be Mick
it could
Jagger,
be
for
anyone.
Pete's
It could be all of it. Could be Bill Gates.
It could be
all
Bill Gates. Wouldn't that
all
be
of them? They have different pictures, but
you have a little son
each
looking like Bill
time
Gates.
that's what you get every time.
Oh no! I want my money
Honestly.
back.
And then then it would have been high risk for me, and really the only sensible thing to do, like it was going to take multiple tries. The only sensible thing would be to buy a young woman's fertilized ovum. So, and that's very expensive too, as one would imagine. But then that time, then I'm thinking, well, who is that person? You know, am I gonna? I want to. If I want to have a child, I don't want some evil, awful person. You know, that's and I would hope that maybe nurture would steer that in a positive direction or a more positive direction. But you don't know. I don't know. And so then it's like, okay, well, maybe I could have gotten Melinda Gates' ovum fertilized with Bill Gates' sperm, or who knows? I don't know, right? You don't know. So
Wouldn't have that been awful?
anyway, but zombie movie. So the music was great, and I enjoyed all of the actors. They looked cute, and it was, you know, it was great the way for a long time the teenagers didn't even figure out the world was falling around them, and they're teenagers, right? So they're caught up in their own. They're the star of their own show, and they don't notice anything else going on around them, and they're just singing and whatever. It's awesome. And
Singing in the rain. Yeah.
Really, the hero of the movie is the woman with the candy cane. She's nailing people, well, zombies with a candy cane. And I identified more with the guy with the light up Christmas tree sweater, and he didn't make it. But I mean,
Oh,
neither
that's
will I.
too bad. I guess he was just too flamboyant for,
I don't
you
know.
know, horror movie or TV ethics.
He was a nice, passive guy.
Yeah, I know.
He wasn't going to fight his way to the end.
Yeah.
And you know, James has said that to me. Like this book, Forest Bathing, that I was going to talk about. They mentioned at one point, you don't have to be passive to be a pacifist. And I thought, yeah, you do. And James said, well, if you have to be passive, then I don't want to be a pacifist. And I thought, I think we're both right there. You know, like it doesn't. If like he was saying, if you don't have Hitler's neck under your boot or whatever, something, I don't know what you were saying. Then
Oh, your boot on his neck.
yeah. And he's right. I mean, it's gonna be, with a lot of people, it's either him or you, and it's not only gonna be you, it's gonna be a whole bunch of other people. And if you don't take those few out, and I know that, but that's not me. And so the guy with the Christmas tree, he's gone, you know, and so will I be. But anyway.
Well, you don't want to be. I mean, Abigail Folger was an heiress of the Folger Coffee Company. She was with Sharon Tate when Charlie Manson's evil people got hold of them. And eventually what she said, this is, you know, according to the witnesses who survived, or the killers, she said, okay, I'm dead, take me. No, she tried to run away. Her boyfriend tried to fight him. He's a good athlete, and they were wondering, why didn't he able to overcome them? Yeah, you see, the main killer was a guy who'd been a star athlete and a star football player in Texas, and maybe, I don't know, 50% younger. You know, 10 years younger. He's in his early 20s, and he had a gun. Yeah, so that's too bad they just didn't rush them all the way, right away, you know, rush the guy with the gun. But they were a little bit stoned, maybe a whole lot stoned and stuff like that. And, because there were, what, two men there? Two men who were murdered. It's a very sad case, but it's about the only thing you can do with people like that who are out to kill you. You gotta kill them first.
Anyway, so I love the movie, and the fact that it seemed very, I could identify with what was going on a lot, and I think a lot of people could, or I hope that they can. I mean, the father and her father, the Candy Cane Girl's father, Anna, her father was a janitor, and he wasn't treated very well and whatever, and he ended up, it wasn't going to work out for him either. And I don't know, James was a janitor for his life, and it kind of got me thinking that too. And I don't know. So this is now, it might be my favorite movie. It's just they did a really good job on it. And if you know that the end is here or just around the corner, I mean, you can wake up sobbing every morning, or you can decide that's it. I'm going to go out singing. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to go hiking. I'm going to maybe do some forest bathing, because why not? You know, so page 105, Dr. King Lee, maybe? Jing Lee? I don't know. 2008 study, forest bathing trip lasting 3 days, 2 nights. High improves NK cell numbers by 50%, and their activity increases by 53%. Activity remained elevated for 30 days after a 3-day trip, and I think I've already read that to you from some other book. 115, Artemisia and salviol contain thujones. Thujones act as antagonists to GABA receptors in the body and have been implicated in causing seizures. 134, many cultures use digestive bitters after every meal. Dandelion, fennel, licorice, anise, pimento maybe? I don't know what that is. Chamomile and
Piment
ginger.
is kind of like I think it might be a German word. It means like like a pepper or spice or
Okay.
something like that.
Dandelion's an anti-inflammatory. Avoid when breastfeeding or pregnant. And that's good to know, because I've been telling people, yay, dandelion detox in the spring. And yeah, but not if pregnant or breastfeeding. So, in large quantities, there are potential drug interactions with quinolone, antibiotics, lithium, potassium-sparing diuretics, and medications metabolized by the cytochrome P450-1A2 pathway. Dandelion can downregulate CYP1A2, therefore increasing the effect of meds that use this metabolic pathway in the liver. Consuming large quantities could allow toxic levels of these medications to build up in the blood. 161, yew berries are edible. Rest of the tree is poisonous. Poisonous hemlock, Conium maculatum, is of the parsley family and is poisonous. Thuja hemlock is of pine family and not poisonous. Juniper berry is actually a seed cone, female, antimicrobial, kidney remedies. 183, oak leaves stop bleeding, wound, and treat burn or poison ivy rash, chew and apply. 197, don't take yarrow when pregnant, it relaxes uterus. So, we're going to just mention this trust machine just briefly, because it's not actually worth watching. We've already introduced a documentary in the past about Bitcoin, and I don't see it really being worth making one documentary about. Or what do you think about that?
Frankly, they were trying to explain it, and I couldn't understand
the blockchain
it.
technology?
And all that sort of stuff. So there are people saying it's the thing of the future, and the people saying it's a tulip bubble and stuff like that. And they're saying that it's, there are people saying, well, the people are saying it's a tulip bubble, or the people like the banks are going to get hurt by it, and stuff like that. So I can't really say much about it. It seems pretty hocus pocus to me. But
it does to me too, because basically, if your governments or big banks or whatever, you could use blockchain technology and capitalize on that instead, and you'd be the big powerhouse. You know, it's not a way for, like, when I see the different really organic farmers branding themselves, doing logos and whatever, I think, yeah, whatever you do, it's a short-term win, because you're playing in a system with big guys who then just say, okay, well, these people are making money growing organic carrots or whatever. Then all of a sudden, the big guys are going to grow organic carrots. You're not going to win. Yeah. You know, so, it's just a short-term sort of thing.
I can remember, you could see the internet coming along before 95, and you'd hear people saying, maybe for me, noticing in the 80s, I might have been hearing about the stirrings of something like that in the 70s, but like the 80s, And yet, a lot of these flunkies who work on it say, this is, and they were still using this term, this is democratization, it will lead to great freedom and
Which
stuff
is
like that.
ridiculous,
I'm going,
because
oh man, you
even
guys
if-
have no clue.
Let's say that Gates becomes the big Bitcoin superpower or whatever. Well, that's not you. That's Gates. It's never going to be you. So there's
Much less
nothing about
all of you individually
it's ridiculous.
setting the rules. I knew what would happen. It happens with every. Now, there's a certain degree. This is one of the weird things about capitalism. Capitalism isn't nearly as hegemonic as we're led to believe by putative left-wingers. The one thing that happens that always breaks it down is it's going to be newbies coming up with the new capitalist thing, the new machine or toy or whatever. But these toys actually, the word for toy in German, Zeug, basically mean toy or tool. Mm-hmm. So these toys tend to be tools. And what happens is, when I was a kid, IBM was it. They were going to control the world. Yeah, that's what I thought. But now when I see something coming along, Google's going to control the world. Yeah, there'll be a new kid on the block, and Google's going to go down, and not necessarily in flames. I think IBM's kind of sort of around, but it's not like Intel or whatever. Intel might be going the way of the dinosaur. I don't know. I don't keep track of these sorts of things. So that's different from when you look at dictatorship. It tends to be wanting to hold on to the past. That's why the Soviets couldn't keep up with the Americans, because the Americans had new kids on the block coming along. I went to the Soviet Union just after it ended in 1991, and there was a real nice guy who was working with me on, he'd written some songs, and I was translating his songs, the lyrics into English. And he belonged to the Composers Union of the Soviet Union. This is in Belarusia. And he was so proud because he had access to a computer. Well, that was amazing. The printouts were on something like their toilet paper, which is something like cardboard, okay? And it's the color of cardboard. It's one thing when you get acid-free paper and all that sort of recycled, you can still read the stuff. But you're going, I'm seeing shadows on brown. That's what the printouts were like, right? I'm not sure if seeing what I'm reading or reading what I'm seeing. So, yeah, and you wanted to phone someone there, and they didn't have phone books because they didn't want people getting networks of people together. That's phones. This is 1991. Yeah. Back then I had a dial phone and all that sort of stuff. They didn't even have phone books because they're crushing technology. Crush. It doesn't work.